Good morning. Good morning. Another great day, another great weekend, and we're back at it. Hostline Entertainment, Revelation of the Spirit. So, hey, we're really happy. There's fewer and fewer watching this, so that's always good to know that we're impressing everybody. Might have to get a little more juicier to get people on, huh? Anyway, if you are a watcher, please hit the subscribe button and please share. You can get this on Facebook if you're a friend of mine. Friend me on Facebook. Um, it's funny. We're going to talk today about Walmart and the movie business. And I've talked about how I really thought Walmart could have owned the movie business from building on to their already great success and the eyeballs that they had and still claim every day walking through their stores. I don't think that they have really ever captured and unleashed the power of what they can do with those eyeballs from extra and incremental revenue. But anyway, please friend me on Facebook or LinkedIn, whichever way you're receiving this, or share, and we'll get juicier if we have to. That's what we'll do. So anyway, look, Walmart could have been the next Netflix, could have been the next IMDb/Prime, Amazon Prime. I mean, I know that they've tried to do that, but I've noticed that they've sold off their Vudu streaming service to Fandango, which is part of Universal Studios, NBC, just FYI. So, but ultimately, they really sometimes, and sometimes maybe it's the right decision because sometimes you overload, as I've explained back with Kmart, overloading. But you would think that when you make these decisions that you would put the right people in place in order to get things done. And we're going to kind of talk about that today in some of these movie things. Probably about 3 or 4 sessions on movies. But they've always captured home entertainment and the movie licensing business probably better than anybody. Target does a very good job also. Best Buy does a halfway decent job. But Walmart's always been the leader in this. And they've always been the leader of capturing the market share of the products that are made, whether they're done with promotion or they're done with a licensing deal. Now, I must say that we were, when I was working with Nabisco and Kraft, we were doing breakthrough stuff. I just noticed that Oreo this last couple of years did the Game of Thrones Oreo, and I thought that was probably the closest they've gotten to what we were doing back then. But they really just, and the concept was good. I just don't know if Game of Thrones was the right property for a long-term relationship. But, look, it was a good promotion. They did the right thing. But, a lot of the things we're going to talk about today allowed them to have the flexibility to do what they did. And I'll tell you why in a second. So Walmart had great ties to all of the animation studios out there, and as those relationships grew and those promotions grew and those sales grew, other studios got heavily involved in animation, like Sony Pictures, 20th Century Fox, bleeding off of the Disneys and the DreamWorks. Walmart had I wish that should maybe the other way around. DreamWorks had a great relationship with Walmart, and probably because their management, top of the house, Jeffrey Katzenberg. And if you don't know that DreamWorks, which was SKG, Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen, and if you ever want to really read a great book, there's a book that was out. What the heck was the name of it? The Men That Would Be King. Please pick that book up and read it. It will give you the nasty side of the movie business, and it focuses on Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen, and there's some wild stuff in there. But most of all is their fight with the Weinstein or the Miramax company and Harvey Weinstein, who obviously we all know about these days as #MeToo. But anyway, it's a phenomenal book. Really, you should get it. The Men Who Would Be King. But anyway, Jeffrey Katzenberg got it. I mean, this guy is everything that you might think he was at Disney, and then moved over to DreamWorks, created, because he was there. He developed and went to Walmart. He was at their managers' meetings. This was a Hollywood elite that was willing to get his hands dirty and go meet with the customer and talk to them about how they operate, what their needs were, and delivered. And I remember one of the great things that in my career of being a marketer out there with Nabisco and Kraft was Jeffrey pulling me aside one day and telling me that we thought what I was doing was just fantastic, that I was probably the only person in the CPG business that was approaching retail the same way that the Hollywood studios were. And for a while there, thank God, we kind of had our way out there, and I don't see that happening anymore. But that's the kind of thing that brands should be getting back to, and I'm here for you whenever any of you want to get back to that, because I've done it and I'll do it again. But anyway, Walmart had this great relationship with Jeffrey Katzenberg and DreamWorks. Not to say that they didn't have a good relationship with Disney also. Disney's still the leader in animation. And they also had a great relationship with Lucasfilms and George Lucas. So those were kind of the mainstays, but didn't mean that some other studios didn't play. Universal, obviously, and I'll talk about Universal in a second here. But I accredit most of that to the genius of the people that worked at Walmart back then. Bob Connolly was probably one of the best marketers on the planet. And Bob had a, he was his own person. But, he did everything in the background behind, the David Glasses and the leaders of Walmart from retail. But he supported them so well. And his genius, and I will say this, Danette Thompson, who was my marketing manager at one time, she was in charge of the movie relationship out there, picking the tent poles and marketing that. She was phenomenal. She still is. She's still working at Walmart. But between Bob being genius and picking somebody like Danette to really take charge of the movie business out there, and of course I was working with Leanne Mills, who was one of the great marketers / into merchandising marketers that Walmart had. It was a great three-way success team, thanks to Bob, Danette, and Leanne. So, and Walmart is still the master of taking a tentpole. Every studio, every property wants to be a tentpole for Walmart, still to this day. But anyway, I would follow them around, Danette and Bob and Leanne. I would follow them around, particularly Danette, from studio to studio. I ran into Danette numerous times on Hollywood sets, just trying to be early bird to the worm, or early worm to the bird, on getting and knowing what was the hot property to get involved in. Didn't mean I always, even when I knew, that I went with it, because as a marketer, you want to make sure that you can be the lead horse in it. I mean, it does take teamwork. It does take good adjacencies, good other categories to meld and do a great promotion at retail. Obviously, being in the snack environment, having a great beverage partner is critical. But ultimately, also wanted to be the lead dog. And when you're dealing with Salty Snacks and Frito-Lay and the battle between us two companies out there, and Frito being tied to Pepsi and having much more money and much more engagement in the promotional world than Kraft did with Nabisco, you really had to be on your game, and I think we were. at the marketing level and the people that I worked with internally, as well as having the reps and the store people out there to execute. But anyway, one of the biggest achievements, so we'll start with this movie thing that we did, was, and I think I've mentioned this before, was our tie-in with The Grinch. Now, The Grinch was Jim Carrey vehicle a long time ago, but this was the first time that Nabisco ever, and this is why I'm getting that Games of Thrones thing, this was the first time they ever changed the cookie and embossed logo on Oreo to something else. And you can't believe the legalistic BS I had to go through in order to get that done at Nabisco. And then after we got it done and we had a green Grinch Oreo coming out for the holiday and everything was approved, the grocery side of the equation wasn't able to sell it in very well because groceries always lag behind in this entertainment marketing. I mean, since then, and I'll talk a little bit when I move on to Mars advertising. Since then, a lot of great agencies have gone in and got Kroger and H-E-B and a lot of other grocery retailers involved in entertainment marketing. But up until that point, there really wasn't a whole lot going on there. And so Grinch Oreo looked like it was going to be dead to the water, as Walmart seemed to be the only one grasping onto it. Even Kmart and I was thinking who else is out there, Shopko and the other mass merchandisers were lagging behind in support on that. But let me say this, we went in knowing that to help out the company. And we took Craig Colton and Colton, I think his name was, and the buyers out to Universal and walked them on the set with Ron Howard and Carrie on the Grinch set and sold that program in hard with our friends from Universal. Jamie Stevens was there, Michael Gottsagen, some really great entertainment marketers. Jamie's over at Sony now, and Michael has his own company with a guy named Tim Rothwell, who also was at Universal. All three of them were at Universal when we were doing this. I believe Tim was still there. But anyway, long story short of it is that Walmart owned The Grinch during that fourth quarter. And let's face it, The Grinch was a huge movie, and it still is a fan favorite during the holidays. And here's the thing that made it even more successful, that the grocery guys in Nabisco and Kraft and their lack of being able to sell that didn't get. Well, number one is in a grocery store, Q4 is a little easier to sell in Nabisco products, particularly if they're holiday orientated. But you have your normal baking aisle things for Thanksgiving and different Christmas items in grocery. But in Walmart, they have to get that non-grocery stuff out on the floor. So a lot of space was dried up for grocery because they needed to push those high margin Christmas gift items. This gave us in Walmart a leg in that fourth quarter, having this product and having Walmart commit to Grinch Oreo. Now, look, once you get the real estate, the idea with a great sales force, which we had, allows you to add on to that real estate. So where we had great relationships in the field, whether it was through management or whether it was through the sales rep at the store, we were able to get a lot of incremental displays, and that fourth quarter just killed it. And Grinch was the main reason why. And we took pretty much, I would say, 75 to 80% of the inventory that was made, and we got rid of it by January 1st. That was it was a huge win. It was a huge promotion. It was historic in the fact that Oreo had changed the embossment on the cookie, and it pretty much gave us carte blanche to have success after such a big. Of course, Oreo stacking was the greatest thing we did, but this helped us in the fourth quarter tremendously. We also, because we were there with the DMM of grocery, were able to get our dog food company, Milk-Bone, involved with the Grinch also because of obviously the cute little dog in the movie. Like I said, we took all the Walmart management out to Universal Studios, walked on the set. Drew Brazier, as I mentioned before, was in charge of the Walmart team back then. And I know that, in an environment where I was the odd man out all the time, it certainly bought me a few more months of Drew's love by having Walmart get on board on that and having an excellent fourth quarter. But we really, from a CPG, we rewrote movie promotion history. And certainly, if not out in the field and out in the universe, we did internally for Nabisco. It was a game changer. And maybe is the same as Game of Thrones was a great promotion for them. This was something that allowed them, Game of Thrones, to change the embossment on the Oreo, and this is where it all started. And we had many failures at Nabisco getting involved with some really poor picks like Coneheads and the Page Master. So anyway, I'm going to stop there. That was start off with the biggest and the best, the Grinch Oreo. And it was phenomenal. We did all kinds of promotional stuff with it. We did Walmart TV. We did graphics. We did all kinds of graphics on our displays, as well as having the packaging. It was win-win-win. So anyway, we'll stop there. We had a good time looking at some stuff this weekend. We were watching a great classic, What About Bob, with Bill Murray. What a great movie. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but you know what? Go watch it again. It's on Hulu right now. I think it's actually on HBO, but through Hulu, that's how we watched it. Lucifer, which you can probably go back and listen to some other things. I was really involved in the first 4 seasons of Lucifer. Just started its 5th season on Netflix, and I'm about halfway through. And I'm glad it's back, and I'm surprised it's back so quick. The other neat thing about it is if you watch particularly episodes 3 and 4, they've got great shots of the Warner Brothers studio, which, I'm a big studio nut, of where old films and new films are filmed on the lots in Hollywood. So you can see some really great stuff in that. This weekend was the DC Fandom live event all day, and we got numerous great trailers from the new The Batman and Suicide Squad 2, for lack of a better word. So if you hadn't seen some of those, another good reason to friend me on Facebook, because I post a lot. Facebook really isn't a personal site. It's kind of like it's got two things for me. It's a business site from the Doug Haas version, and of course then there's the Haasline Entertainment that you can go to from that, and check out some great videos on Haasline Entertainment if you get on that side of the of my sites, and you can friend me on Haasline Entertainment on Facebook too. So anyway, and I'm also watching the The Following with Kevin Bacon. Still watching that on season 2. Great if you like serial killers stuff, which I do. It's really good. And then The Boys. I finished season 1 of The Boys. Season 2 will start in September. I think September 5th. Great. If you have not seen The Boys on Amazon Prime, it's really, really good. Now, it may not be your bag, baby, but I like it. So, look, all this stuff, when you're in corporate America, can have a lot of people turn on you. I mean, success is probably the worst thing you can have going into any situation, because as soon as you're successful, everybody wants to. In fact, one of the Lucifer episodes, there's a girl in there who's in the movie business, and she says, I really don't want this show to be such a great success in the story, because once you're a success, then the people who aren't successful all want to jump in and grab what they can. And of course, as soon as the thing starts to go south, which everything eventually does, then they take their hands off the, as we say, the shit bag. And so it's, I don't think that changes in any organization. So, but I will tell you this, and this is the learning from this piece, is that most of the people that were shitbags to me, most of the people that were thorns in my side, as Paul in the Bible had a thorn that he had forever, most of those people in my life were really ended up being probably some of the most productive people in my life. So I know that we sometimes get angry about people and we prejudge them and we don't think past potentially working with somebody. We just look at our differences. But I have to tell you, most of the people, I would say 80% of the people, I have made amends with. And I certainly have forgiven them for any misgivings that I have had, and I've asked for forgiveness from them on any misgivings that they think I would have had. But our interactions and our passion for putting out there in the marketplace what's the best for the customers out there, and as Walmart always says, the customer number one. That's that's really what it's all about. And sometimes our passion has to intermingle and interact. And for those that I interacted with and those that I battled with, they continue to be great friends and great acquaintances, maybe. And we still chat and we still laugh about all the things that we did. We always did, as Walmart always does, what's best for the customer. Have a great week. I know it went a little long this week, but I had so many great things I wanted to tell you about. We will pick it up again next week. Walmart and the movies. And don't forget, Walmart's actually having movies in their parking lots now. A Walmart drive-in. Imagine that. Hey, have a blessed week. We'll talk to you soon.